In our driver's seat is the 2008 Mazda Speed 3. This is one of the most popular cars in its class. All new for 2007, this vehicle goes into its second year as the redesigned vehicle. Now the big question with the Mazda Speed 3 is, did Mazda get lucky and engineer one of the most perfect small style race cars, or was it actually great engineering? Well, they'll tell you one story. Regardless of whichever way it goes, this is still one of the best cars for its class and its size that we've ever had in this studio.
Well, Nick, it wasn't a fluke. This is a great performance car blended with everyday use. Now, I'll tell you something. If you're a small couple with children looking for a day-to-day car that's still fun to drive, or if you're a single guy that has chores during the week and wants to go to a racetrack on the weekend, this could be the car for you. We're going to take a look at the interior. We're going to pay close attention to the driving dynamics, but right now we're going to start right here, under the hood.
Underneath the hood of the 2008 Mazda Speed 3 is part of the magic in this vehicle. It's the 2.3-liter four-cylinder turbo engine.
This is part of the magic that makes this car so special. Let's not forget, this was our car of the year last year on this program. Now, this is a fantastic engine, 250 horsepower, making it the least expensive 155-mile-an-hour car out there, let alone great 0 to 60 in quarter-mile times. But you know what? Going in a straight line isn't what this car is about. It's about going out on the open road, or even a track day if you have the opportunity. The car is well set together as far as steering dynamics, suspension setup, and the way that the car handles a little bit on the understeer side, but it's more about the way that the whole entire package works together. I've had a chance to drive this car at speed on several occasions, and I can only tell you this. When it comes down to cars under 25 grand, there's a lot of competition, but you know what? This is probably at the top of my list. Now, in the several times I've had the opportunity to spend with real race car drivers, not just guys who play race car driver like me, all of them talk about one thing that's the most important part of how a car reacts to a road. It's the contact patch, this little tiny area right here on the tire. No matter how good the suspension is, no matter how great the engine is, no matter how powerful it is, it comes down to how the car's dynamics puts that on the road. This is where the Mazda really comes forward. You see the little zoom thing about how there's a sports car built into every one of these cars? This is an automobile that is built for 5 passengers, cargo, dogs, whatever, and still puts this contact patch on the ground with a big smile on your face.
Let's talk about exterior styling for the 2008 Mazda Speed 3. Now, with the 3s themselves, they came in 2 versions, which is the 5-door and then the regular saloon style. The one big thing about this car is the Speed 3 gives you a lot of little design extras, but you have to get up close to the car to actually see a lot of them. Now, it's hard in a television studio once you see the car from a wide angle to see all the body nuances, but you can see sills and you can see body lines, and you can also see a lot of extra things like this nice spoiler on the back. Overall, this car looks significantly different than any other of the Mazda lines. However, they've done the design cues up front and at the rear end to make the car look like it comes from the Mazda family.
Well, Nick's right. A lot of what ties these cars together are the little things like the winged M emblem on the front end. All of the Mazdas have them. But one thing that's significantly different on the Speed 3 is the front valance. A little bit more aggressive, larger opening to let air flow up into the intercooler to keep the temperatures down. But again, it goes down to that side of what I talked about, performance on one, usability on the other. The car is very kind of under the radar. Buy it in the true red, you might get a little bit more attention. One of the beauties of the Mazda Speed 3 is the driving position. Great supportive seats for lateral and front and back motion, as well as a steering wheel with a thick leather pad, and the fact that if you want to know, heel towing is very easy. The pedal position is absolutely perfect, even for a front drive economy car by its general route. Now, the thing about the Speed 3 is also the way that your vision is great throughout the vehicle. You would think in a 5-door and all the pillars that you wouldn't be able to see out. There's no blind spots in this small car. Great array of gauges on the side here. You have the dynamic stability control off button, and you can even load level the front headlights. Overall, great driver position, great car.
As far as the passengers are concerned on the inside of the 2008 Mazda Speed 3, well, Mazda have done a great job in actually making the interior very comfortable and well finished. Now, the interior is one of the last portions of a car to actually get designed, and therefore, if there are cuts to come in a car's manufacturer, it's usually on the interior. Well, a lot of car companies, including Chrysler, have now learned that that's a bad idea. Mazda learned that was a bad idea a while while ago and have actually been paying more time, more attention, and spending more money on the interiors of the car. After all, when you buy a car, that's where you spend most of your time when you use the car. Now, the interior of this is defined and a higher quality than I expected. Well, this is the portion of the show when we talk about our 2 ups and 1 down, and for this, the 2008 Mazda Speed 3. My first up for this car has got to be the overall performance. Now, I've had the luxury of taking this car on the road with someone who calls himself a semi-professional rally driver, and they made this car perform in no other way. I couldn't imagine that this car could do some of the things that they actually did with it. The performance of this car is probably the most outstanding thing, and that's, of course, why it won Car of the Year a couple of years ago for this show. Now, my second up for the vehicle overall is, with that performance package comes a usable vehicle. This is something where you actually have room in the back to get another 3 passengers. You have a trunk in the back where you can actually get luggage in this, so it's a usable vehicle. My down is kind of a reflection of that. The down for this vehicle, and we've had much argument and much debate over it, is it's not a very user-friendly daily driver car. My one thing I would pick out of that is coming into the manual transmission. Now, if you have to sit in traffic bumper to bumper every morning while you go to work, this is not the car for you. If you wanted it to be the car for you, the automatic transmission isn't available. Therefore, I think if they added some luxury things in this car and also an automatic transmission, a lot more people would be able to buy this and use it as their daily driver and their weekend race car.
Well, this is going to come as no surprise, but I completely disagree with my counterpart. This vehicle will never have an automatic, and for good reason. It's a performance car. You want to go daily driving? Go buy something with an automatic, maybe even a CVT transmission. You can sit there and let the thing wind out on you. This car, like I said from the get-go, is a blend of performance and usability. That comes to my 2 ups and 1 down. The first one is the fact that this is the least expensive 155-mile-an-hour track-ready car for track day street car events that you can possibly buy at any other price. My other up is going to be the driver's position. Perfect heel toe, great visibility, and the fact that they have very supportive seats. Now, my down is going to be a little bit nitpicky. I'd love to see a navigation system, and that might be where Nick gets his usability day to day. But overall, I got to say, this car on the track, on the street, or in my driveway would be one of my top 3 choices if I was going to go out and buy a car for my small family. That's going to complete our review of the 2008 Mazda Speed 3. The 2008 Mazda Speed 3 Grand Touring comes standard with a 2.3-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder and a 6-speed manual transmission. The standard vehicle price is $24,055 with an as-tested price of $25,120. City mile per gallon EPA rating is 18. Highway mile per gallon EPA rating is 26.
The driver's seat is brought to you by Ray Reese Volkswagen, family owned and specializing in Volkswagens for over 15 years, and proudly presenting the all-new Portland Hyundai. Check them out at rayreese.com. Miles Around Television is brought to you by Baxter Auto Parts. With 4 warehouses stocked full of parts ready to ship, Baxter Auto Parts can get you the parts you need when you need them. Buy with confidence from Baxter Auto Parts. Check them out at baxterautoparts.com.